Okay, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me now. All right, I think it's working. Right. All right. Sorry, slightly delayed. And I just closed my stream. Hey, all right. Got my stream back and uh hey, Quartz Creations, welcome. Sorry, it's lower than expected today. Things just as I'm going live, suddenly technical problems, which seems to be how it always wants to go. So for some reason, how are you doing today? Mm, yeah, yeah. All right, and cameras. Let me skip those in. Um, hey, here we go. Sort of. You're getting ready. What are you getting ready for? Or are you getting ready for the stream? Is that what you're getting ready for? Take over the world. Okay, brain. You're gonna go chill with a friend? That's good. All right. Every time I slightly move the camera, I need to readjust this. It's so annoying. No. All right, there we go. That looks pretty close. No. Yeah, that's pretty close. All right. So this painting is pretty much done, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to add a little more of the the interference paint because I added some last time, but it's almost not visible. Like I can, let me make sure it's in focus. Like I can't even show you the interference paint because it's like, it's in the light areas, but you basically can't see it, which is annoying. So today I'm going to add some more to see if I can get it to the point where it's like visible. And then if I have more time, I have another painting to start, ready to go. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, the interference paint, I still trying to figure out exactly how to use it in the best techniques for it. Hey Dunley, it looks great. Also, hi, hey man. Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's pretty much done. Like I was saying, if you I don't know if you heard me or not because I just started, but I'm going to put some more interference paint on it to see if I can get that to be visible. But other than that, it's pretty much done. It's just I'm trying to figure out how to use the interference paint in a way that, you know, um, reads well. You know what I mean? Because right now, like I know one way I can use interference paint, but it will be very I don't want to say garish because that's not true, but it'll be very it'll look like glitter paint essentially, and I don't want it to look like glitter paint. You know, that's not because otherwise I could just buy glitter paint, right? Like, and actually, if I bought glitter paint, it probably would be easier to use in a lot of ways. You're not familiar with interference paint. So interference paint is a unique paint. It has um, mica flakes in it, um, which I don't remember. I looked it up. I don't remember what they are. They use it in makeup and other stuff. It's a shimmery. It basically reflects light, so it's shimmery, right? It's one of those things that they put in stuff to make it. It's a shimmer. But what's unique about interference paint is I can show you some samples that some I did some tests with it, right? And to show some examples of it. So here you can see it on black, and on black it's much more visible. But you see how like this is kind of yellowish because that's kind of the color of it. But at a certain angle it's like very blue, and this is green, right? And so it shimmers, right? Which is cool, but it's not just that it shimmers that's cool. Like if that was it, you know, whatever. But that's not the only thing about it. So let me explain a little more. Um, so the way the way that it works is it interferes with the light. Um, so that's why it's called interference paint. Whatever color it's supposed to be, like the blue, it reflects the blue, but it doesn't. That's why you see it as blue, but it scatters the other colors. So what happens is when it's on a light surface like this, like white, like you can see here, it's kind of cream colored. My exposure might be a little high. Let me see if I can mess with my exposure for a second. All right, this might help a little. So you can kind of see here, it's like cream colored a little bit, right? Like, or off-white or whatever. The thing is, at the right angles, and I don't know if I can get that angle because of where the camera is located. I'm not sure I can get it. Let me see. Maybe I can get it if I use my face cam. Because the problem is that the light has to reflect off of it, right? And it has to reflect off of it at the correct angle. Yeah, I can't quite get it. Let me see. Um, Let me see if you can see it. You can't really see it on camera. More of an in-person thing, maybe. Definitely more of an in-person thing. But how can I show this? The problem is also the camera's trying to adjust all the time, so it's messing it up, you know. But yeah, I cannot get it correct here. Yeah, you can't see it. Oh well. So I'll try and describe it for you a little though, because that's the best I can do. So what happens with this when it's on white is that it shimmers, but when you see it at one angle where it's reflecting like the blue, then you get the blue color, right? But at other angles, you actually get the opposite of blue. You get the lack of blue. Um, and when you mix the colors, they mix more like RGB, so than CMYK, right? So because it reflects, it mixes additively, not subtractively, sort of. That's the best example I can give. So yeah, when it's, when it's on black, it just looks kind of like glitter paint, right? But on white, it gets really weird. Thanks for trying to explain. I'll try and look up something and post in the Discord if I do. Yeah, I think I also have some. I think I have some photos that I can share on my Discord later if you remind me. Because I did some experiment, some samples to try and work with it to figure it out, kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that's more for in person, and that is kind of the idea behind it for me. I want it to be something that you see that like you can't replicate really well, in photos. You know what I mean? Hey, Des. Because while I love the fact that I love the fact that art can be reproduced, and I love the fact that we can share art online the way that we do nowadays. I also like the unique aspect of like, real art, one of a kind art, especially with all the AI nonsense, right? Like that. that is becoming, I don't want to say more important, but it's definitely something to value. It's really interesting because even not on black, but just on like on my wood palette right here, because I'm just using this wood palette. You can kind of see it shimmer like green and red, and then it has that like cream color to it as well. I need to put my filters back on. Yeah, here. You can, let me see if I can get this in focus at least. Yeah. All right. So maybe not. Uh, you can kind of see it, but not really. Anyways, we'll see if I can get it. If I can get it to show up on the cat, I'll take a photo and post it on my Discord while streaming. I bet it'll show up better on your painting with various colors around it. Yeah, I think so. I also think that now that the now that the painting's mostly dry, it'll also help a lot because this paint is not very strong. So when it mixes with other stuff, it just disappears um, for the most part. So all the previous paint that I put on here, it just kind of mixed in with the white that I put on, and you couldn't really see much of it. Also, some colors definitely are, show up better than others. I do think the blue is one of the stronger ones, but the cat's not shining blue. So, hey, Cookie Monster, how you doing? Good to see you too. How are you doing today, Cookie Monster? I should have asked you, Cookie Monster, since you come in here every once in a while. Um, what is your favorite cookie? I don't ask everybody, but I feel like it's appropriate to ask you that. Conley says C is for cookie, and I'm a fan. I just love tea biscuits. Are those the what is it? What's that brand? There's one that's very popular. I don't know if it's a tea biscuit because I eat it with coffee, but it's a very popular brand. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. Um I'm going to fail at remembering the name of this brand. That sucks. I do like them though because they're vegan, which I appreciate, and it goes great with coffee. All right, let's see. Does it shimmer more? Honestly, not a little bit. It is very subtle. That cat looks very good. Thank you. It's pretty much done. I'm trying to add some more of the interference paint. Okay. Okay. It does kind of shimmer in person. It is a subtle effect, but it's quite nice. All right, let me finish. Let me add some more here. And then I'll see if I can post a photo because I will not be able to capture it on camera here. Donley asks, are biscotti tea biscuits? I don't think so. I think biscotti are coffee biscuits. I could be wrong on that one. But oh wait, it's something like that. That's the name of the cookie I'm thinking of. Maybe that is it. Maybe that is what I'm thinking of. Now I have to look it up. 1 second. No, okay, that biscottis are yeah, that's something else. Um Darn it, I can't remember the name of that thing. Oh well. All right, there's only one other thing I want to add to this, I think. I'm going to add tiniest amount of the blue for some areas that are a little bit shiny from the blue. Or maybe not. We'll see. The blue is a little excessive. It's driving me crazy that I can't remember the name of that cookie that I like. But it's not a biscotti, but it's like Biscoff or Bis something. I can't remember now. They even give it to you on planes now. Like it's kind of become uh ubiquitous. But yeah, after I finish doing this, which I'm probably going to be done in just a few minutes, I am um going to start a new painting. I have a painting that I'm working on, but I can't work on it on stream because it will get flagged for nudity, even though there is no nudity in it. But it will get flagged for nudity. And if you're curious, that has happened to me once before. I was actually banned on Twitch for a whole day. They call it a ban, even though they bring you back. So it's I don't know why they call it a ban, but whatever. But yeah, I was banned for a day off of Twitch because they accidentally flagged me for nudity, even though I wasn't painting any nudity. The blue stands out so much more than everything else. It's a little annoying how much more the blue stands out. Donnelly says, "Do you need to post emotes over your image again to cover controversial areas?" No. Thank you, Donnelly. I appreciate it, but no. The thing that's so annoying about that too is that like not only was I flagged for nudity that there was no nudity. There was a time before that when I was painting a nude model, um, and I had to cover her up because of you know, the nudity, right? And it made it so much more obscene to put like something to cover her up than it did with nothing there because it wasn't detailed. She's topless, but it what at that point it wasn't very detailed. And even in the finished image, that's not the focus. It's not a big part. So I'm not going in there and detailing it up. It's not an erotic painting. She is topless. Actually, she's completely nude. It's just the only part you see. But to have to like censor it made it so much worse than it was. Uh, Elizabeth Davis, welcome. How are you doing today? Biscoff Specialist Biscuits? Let me see. Yes, that's it. Yeah, those are the ones. I like those. The Biscoff. Yep, I like those. They're great with coffee. The only thing I'm frustrated with them is that um their chocolate versions, they use milk with their chocolate. They do milk chocolate, and so I can't eat them. Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. That was helpful. I did not remember the name of those biscuits. Uh, Cookie Monster says, I was wondering if you had an exhibition planned and what artists inspire you the most. Okay. I don't have an exhibition planned in the near future. I do have some of my paintings up at a local coffee shop, which, isn't quite the same thing. I recognize that, but it's nice to have my stuff out there. And I have a couple paintings at a local gallery for a group show. But other than that, no, I don't have anything planned. Um, as far as artists that inspire me, I do have a lot. It's kind of a mix, you know, of obviously quite a mix of different artists. Um, Trying to think. One would I'd have to say Nicholas Uribe. I love him and his paintings. Um, I'm a big fan of Jeremy Mann. Uh, I love Leyendecker. Rockwell too, but Leyendecker for me between the two. And uh, Frank Frazetta, um, Joe Kubert. I'm blanking on names. I'm so bad with names. Um, John Singer Sargent, of course. MC Escher. Uh, Jennifer Balkin, if we're talking, more current artists. Love her stuff. Hey, Milo. Good to see you. How are you doing? Congratulations, by the way. Don Lee is on a different subject telling me that some of Reese's chocolate isn't real chocolate anymore. Maybe I can have some of it now, and I've probably still put real milk in it, unfortunately. The chocolate part's fine, it's the milk. There was a story in the news this morning about it. Doesn't surprise me. Sorry, Hershey, your chocolate isn't exactly the highest quality. Uh, Cookie Monster says Sergeant, of course, LOL. I mean, come on. Look, here's the thing about John Singer Sargent. Like, he's I will never go and say that John Singer Sargent's the best artist that ever was. But for the type of portraits that he did, he might be he legit might be the best ever for that specific type of portraiture. He's just so good at it. You know, I've seen other paintings of his. He has one with like a bunch of soldiers and stuff, and it's yeah, it's done. It's a Sargent painting. It's amazing, but he doesn't quite convey the like grit that I think maybe was the point of or part of the intention. I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But to me, it's missing something. But for everything else that he did, I mean, it's really hard to argue that there's anybody better than him at that. I mean, there's other painters who are, I would say just as good as Sargent or better than him at certain things, but at like what he did, he was like the best. Cookie Monster says, I like Sargent as well. Learned a few things from him. How could you not? He's amazing. You know, it just is. Like I said, it's that's that's where you start getting into um not just like I guess technical ability because there's some artists that like don't have the maybe the best technical ability, but there's just something about them that supersedes that regardless. I mean, so it's not just about that, but it's the type of thing where it's like it feels like there's no point in trying to do portraits, you know, like Sargent because you're never, like why even bother? You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that you can't do portraits. You can carve out a niche for yourself. Uh, but I mean, there's a ton of artists. It's hard to. Um, I'm forgetting, you know, forgetting a lot of artists off the top of my head because um, I have a bad memory for names. But yeah. All right, let me see real quick. If I can show you guys this how this shimmers. So let me take a picture like this, and then let me see if I can. Trying to capture the shimmer, but it's really hard to capture it. Let's see if in video it kind of shows up more. Mm, not really. The problem is that the cameras keep trying to compensate for the light, and so it ends up um, kind of ruining the effect. Oh well, I will try and I will post later on my Discord when I can control the lighting a little better and show you guys. But because all this part that's like super bright, it all kind of shimmers. And there's, I don't know if you can't even see the blue in here. Like it really shows. Yeah. That says American chocolate is very different from Canadian chocolate. We have regulations about what can be in it. So do we. I'm not sure they've found what can't be in it yet, but they're working on it. Yeah, it's damn, it's so frustrating. That I can't show this right now. All right. Oh well. No, but seriously, if I remember correctly, Hershey chocolate originally they didn't when they were making chocolate, they didn't know how to make chocolate properly or something like that. And they basically made it spoil, but it became popular anyways. So then they had to make all their chocolate taste like that. And that's why it mostly tastes like crap. And I'm not joking. If I remember correctly, it's something like that. Like it's a story where you're just like, wait, what? That can't be right. One second. I don't know what moved here, but let me fix it. All right, that looks pretty close. Maybe not. A little compressed to one side. One second. Every time I move something just a little, I have to redo all of this. I don't know why. There we go. Cookie Monster says the sea artists always seem to have something magical. I wonder if people in the future will also see us as if we truly lived artistic lives. You know, there's something to what you're saying. Um, Unfortunately, I'm a little more pessimistic I don't think it's going to be that way, but I'm not going to. I don't want my pessimism to rub off on everyone else. So I'm just going to keep it at that, and just say I hope so. I will say there is a book that I like. It was like the Working Habit. I think it's like wait, the Working Habits of Artists or something like that. Something like that. And it's just a book that talks about like the lives of different artists, writers, and musicians, and like um what their artistic process was like and what their life was like. Just a little bit. Like um it's very short about each person. Um but it's a fun book, you know. And he did another one about women artists specifically that I have yet to listen to. Um I'm sure it's a very inspiring book. Just I'm a little concerned it's going to be a little bit of a bummer too, given our given our history. But otherwise, yeah, it's a fun read. I think it's the ones that I find funny are like there's certain people who they used to like they would work like crazy and put out like a ton of work, and then you know it says like after a certain age uh when the like drug use caught up to them, they stopped being as prolific and slowed down a lot. And it was like it's like yeah, okay, there's a reason they were so you know so prolific for a while there. My canvas is perfectly in focus. You're a perfectionist. Oh, I am a bit of a perfectionist, but I try not to be. I think it's a, you know, I think it can be a detriment sometimes. But yeah, I can be. I used to be worse than I am now. Um, yeah, trying not to be a perfectionist overall. The one thing I will say that I think is really interesting is there are stories. There's so many people that their their life story. Like when you hear their life story, the thing that gets me is like I I wonder how did they make a living? Like how did they survive? I don't understand. Like I feel like the math just would not add up properly, you know. And that's in history, in art history, but not just art history. Like there are people I know who, had like really weird lives, and I'm just like, how did you eat? Like you didn't have a job, you didn't work, like you're not rich. Like where did the money come from? Like how did this practically work? And they're like, oh, we got by. It's like, no, I don't know how you got by without any money. Like I don't understand it. But some people just have a way, I guess. I don't know. Cookie Monster says, I quit drinking and drugs. I'm fine now. Gonna work my ass off on my artistic endeavors. That's good. I mean, I'm not gonna tell anybody to quit drinking or drugs. I'm just gonna tell them to, if they're an adult, that is, to do it at your own risk. Be aware of the pitfalls and try and be responsible and don't let it fuck up your life, you know? Otherwise, I don't care. But yeah, I don't have any like moral issue with it, but you know, I do for the most part, you know, it does seem to be detrimental to people. But yeah, there are some people who just had like I will say there are just some people who had like the most wild lives ever. Saw a YouTube video recently. There's this YouTuber. He does um he does these videos about different companies and like different corporations or different industries. And he did one about KFC, but it turned into a um into a little thing about the history of Colonel Sanders because the guy was a lunatic and had like the craziest life. But you know, it was really interesting. Dresden, hi baby boy. Oh, going straight for the nose, huh? Why? Why do you go straight for the nose? What? Ow, your claws are hurting, little boy. Yeah, digging right in right there. Yep. Oh, is Michelle making a lot of noise? Yeah. What? You want your tail? Do you want your tail? Get your tail. He loves his tail. He eats it all the time. Isn't that right, little boy? Isn't that right? He's so cute. Okay, okay. I'll put you down. Everlasting tail gobstopper. Yeah. He, it's his favorite toy. He does the like dog thing where he like chases his tail and stuff like that. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the image. There we go. That says I have the clumsiest long-tailed long-tailed hairball on my chest right now. Yeah. I was so frustrated last night. He was on my lap and he got freaked out by something and just clawed my lap as he was like running away from the noise that freaked him out. Hate when they do that. It is not the main color of the painting or anything, but it is a very pretty color that I like a lot. A little redder, at least in my eyes, than my screen, but yeah. So right now I'm just laying in the, you know, general form. And I have a tendency to just use whatever colors, whatever paint I have left over kind of thing when I do this part. Because I'm probably going to cover this all up anyways. So might as well just use whatever. I know right now it looks like a complete mess because I'm not sketching in the form as much as I'm just trying to kind of get placement of things. And I think I've got some things out of place as well. So I'm not overly concerned with getting all the details right. Cookie Monster says can't trust cats, but you just gotta love them. Oh, true. You definitely can't trust them. Very untrustworthy. Oh, okay. That's unfortunate. It's a lot drier than I thought it was. Let's clean the. Oh, yeah, that's dry. That's not. Okay, I gotta clean my palette real quick. I didn't realize it was some of this paint was completely dry. I will say that that's one thing I'm a little jealous of acrylics. With acrylics, supposedly you can work on a silicone palette, and then after it dries, the paint just peels off of it. So you can peel it off in like a single chunk if it's thick enough. I think that's kind of a cool thing. All right, since I took a second to clean my palette, let me take a second to get a drink too, because I'm thirsty. Dark time, no problem, Donnelly. Okay, Monster says if it's acrylic paint, you can keep your palette moist with a plant sponge. I do that myself. Yeah, that I've heard that. Um, I was just saying after the fact, once it dries. Um, yeah. All right. Oh, yay! I can buy viewers according to this uh bot that come. I don't know why they even bother doing that. It's so stupid. I don't know if you're familiar with is it wait, is it Andrew Kadima or Adam Kadima? Is it Andrew Kadima or Andrew Kadima? I can't remember. I always get his first name mixed up. He's an artist. He's kind of known on, I think he's most known on Instagram, I think, but he's also on YouTube. Um, and his palette is crazy. It's like a sculpture of like the paint stacks, that he put out over time. It's really crazy looking. Oh, also, if you're for acrylics, there is a special palette, the Stay Moist palette, I think, or Stay Wet palette, and you have to buy special paper for it. But it has perforated paper and a sponge, and you get the sponge wet, and you put this special paper on top of it, and then you put the paint on the paper, and it constantly like keeps it moist from the bottom. Um, it works pretty well. You love that when a palette gets like that. What do you gets like what? You mean where it all solidifies? They are artwork in them in of themselves. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Andrew Kadima's thing is like it's crazy. It's apparently a lot of people have complained to him about it because of how like triggering they find it, because of how extreme it is. But yeah, am I painting another cat? No, I am painting a person this time. And clearly, I'm doing a wonderful job. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. This is just beginning stages of it. Hi, Dresden, little boy. Little boy. All right, well, what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking my photo of my painting and my reference and overlaying them to get my proportions correct because I don't feel like sitting here on stream and doing all the measuring. 'Cause I find measuring like really like measuring everything very tedious. It is good. It's a good habits to have. But yeah, I find it tedious and it is slow. And so I find it easier and quicker to just use technology for this part. Hmm. Okay. I was really off today. Jeez. Usually I'm closer. Today I was very, very off. That's interesting. I don't think it's very important whether or not you're like, especially at this stage, but it's one of those things that I try to um how can I phrase this? Like I try to use it as ways to improve. And generally speaking, I think like my accuracy is generally improved. Today's not a good example of that, but generally when I get my stream stuff, I notice that I get through things real fast. Like and my accuracy has gotten better over time, but today's not one of those days. I will say one thing I do caution against. I even though I like use whatever's um on my palette, for like drawing in type of thing. I won't do that with like a color that is predominantly phthalo blue because that will just take over the painting and kind of make the whole process so much harder than it needs to be. So that is one warning I would give. Like this color I can, manage with, but I can manage painting into this, but if it was like all phthalo blue, that'd be practically impossible. I will say do when I do something like this where the color that I'm painting into is very strong, sometimes it does force me to go stronger in the opposite direction with all my mixes, which sometimes can have a really nice effect, but sometimes can also just throw like my eye out off off balance kind of thing because I have to like overcompensate and then I get used to it and I have a hard time recentering kind of thing. can also always, I could also wipe it off, you know, everything's wet. I could easily just wipe off the parts that I want to paint into. Hopefully, she's starting to look like a bit more of a person now. Obviously, not finished or perfect, but hopefully, she's starting to read as a person and not a cat. Although it would be funny if I just decided to turn her into a cat now. Yeah, the nose is too big for sure. Some of the jawline isn't right either. All right, let's see here real quick. I already know some of the issues that I'm having with it, but better to just check and stumble around. Hey, Dunley. How's it going? Fremont says your work is characterized by a beautiful balance between light and dark. This is clearly visible in every painting. Some are much darker overall, while others very light. Perhaps you could apply and exploit this even more consciously. Uh, yeah. I mean that is. I mean, it kind of depends on what you mean by that exactly, because there are. So I like doing the really high key paintings. Those are a lot of fun. Dark ones are can be very fun too, but we don't differentiate as much in darks as we do in light. Obviously, our the way our vision is, it's not a like it's not a linear curve the way we or a linear line the way we see. Having said that, I did have this one painting. I never got around to finishing it just because of time, but I was trying to do like a split high key and low key painting in one. But like I said, I never got around to finishing it. I don't remember why, but the idea was you can see there's like one character that's going very dark and everything else going very light. I like that idea. I don't know that this is the best painting to do that on, like the best subject, but I might get around to finishing it. We'll see. I'd like to, but I have a lot of paintings that I need to finish, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly like what you had in mind as far as like exploiting it or using it in which way, but I mean, um, I don't know. I try, to different different ways of doing that, I guess. All right, let's see now. Start getting into a little bit more uh, detail, or not detail, but cleaning up the form a bit. You don't have any particular idea about how to do that? Cookie Monster says. Fair. I mean, but I kind of understand what you're saying. Like you think it's a a very strong element of my work, and to push that even further in some manner is how I interpret that. Just an observation. It's good message. Just an observation is something I see as characteristics in your work. I think that's where the power lies in art. What's really interesting is that you know I think it's fascinating how like people perceive your artwork versus like how you perceive your artwork. I always find that very interesting because I I've had different people describe my artwork, how they perceive my artwork to me. And uh, I'm not, it's one of those things. I'm not arguing with them because that's definitely not the point. But it's so fascinating to see how other people experience it and how different it can be from your own experience. Um, so I find that very interesting. Like I had another artist who I really respect talk about my work, and the words he used, I was like, I never would have thought to use those words to describe my artwork. It was just so interesting, and I was just like, oh, that's so you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was they were very flattering. Like it was a very flattering, you know, description, but I was just like, wow, that's so weird that like this artist who I really respect has a completely different understanding of my work than I do, you know, perception of it. And I was just like, that's I don't know, it's just it bizarre and interesting. Um, it really, makes you think, kind of like, wow, if that's how he experiences it, then, I wonder how other people experience it, if it's similar or, you know, or what. Like, Coco Art, welcome. How are you doing? Thank you. I appreciate that. Picard said, "Whoa, fire!" I appreciate that. How are you doing today? You're doing good. What am I making? Painting a. Oh, I wouldn't call it a portrait. So figurative artwork of a woman, I guess is how I would describe it. Yeah, I realized it now. It's one of the few, not few times, but one of the times I'm not doing a portrait because yeah, her face really isn't front and center. Hi, Dresden, little boy. How are you doing? Oh, hold on a second. I have to tend to my cat. Dresden. Oh, little boy, it's okay. We have guests over and he's really nervous around strangers. So he's retreating to my room. Ginger cat, yeah. We have three cats, but he's the one who comes in my room the most. Little boy, it's okay. He's very shy with new people. He's very friendly to new people. He doesn't like scratch or anything, but he's very shy in the beginning. He's so calm, you're a lucky man. Trust me, not always this calm. He likes me to chase him around the house. Like literally he stands outside my room and cries for attention. When I come outside, he outside my room, he goes running, and so I have to go chase him. And then he goes and hides, and then if I go back to my room, comes back and starts crying for attention again, so I can do it again. But he does like cuddles. He does like to fall asleep on my lap too. But he also likes to bite. But he's gentle. He doesn't bite hard. Dresden, you gotta let me go. I can't paint like this. Oop. I would paint with him like this in my arms if I could. You have two cats that are calm only when they sleep. That's funny. Are they very young? Cookie Monster says, that's very interesting indeed. I always love to hear what people say about my work, and they come up with things I didn't think of myself. Yeah, it's so so interesting how that is. Coco Art says, yeah, they're young kitties. Okay. Yeah, they'll calm down. Enjoy the energy while they've got it. Because later on they just become sacks of potatoes that just lay around. But yeah, I love them. They're adorable and fun, cuddly. It's just sometimes Dresden, that's the orange boy, Dresden. Sometimes he wants me to play and he wants me to have energy to run around the house with him, and I just do not have it. Eh, Or if sometimes I've stuff to do, and it's just like, oh, little boy, I'm so sorry that I can't, or that I'm just not up for it. I try to be as much as I can, but sometimes his timing's really bad. Coco art. What kind of art do you do, by the way? I'm assuming you do art just based off of your name and the fact that you're here, like using context clues. But yeah, you adopted them actually. You found them mid-highway. Oh, that's crazy. I mean, technically, we adopted ours too, but we found them at the shelter. We didn't adopt them off of the highway. Obviously, nothing wrong with doing that. It's just uh, didn't happen that way. We just went to the shelter and adopted them that way. You're a digital artist, and sometimes you sketch. Nice. I used to do a lot more digital. I went all digital for years and years. Um, but then I moved back to traditional, and got in. I had never done oils before, but eventually I got into oil painting, and uh, I love oil paints. They're just, I don't know. Once I got it, once I was able to kind of get them to do what I wanted them to do, that was it. I was just like, oh, this is the thing for me. You do vector illustrations. Oh, that's cool. That means do you work with Adobe Illustrator by any chance? Because if you do, I'm very sorry. My sympathies and condolences. I know some people love that program. Um, I loathe it. It's amazing how capable it is. Like I've seen some really cool stuff with it. Even recently, like I saw someone who made a deck of cards that's like animated. It's so cool. But wow, does that program is unbelievably powerful, but geez, does it suck to use? Yes, Adobe Illustrator. Yeah, my condolences. The way I've described it for me personally is Adobe Illustrator. And I know some people don't feel this way. Like I get it. Some people use it and love it, and it's whatever. Uh, I always say it feels like the program's actively fighting you when you're trying to use it. For PC, Adobe, and for mobile, Infinity Design. Yeah. And IBIS paint, yeah. Yeah, Illustrator just feels like it's fighting you every step of the way. Like you want to do something? Aha, joke's on you. That's not how you do it in this program. Even though that's how you do it in every other program Adobe makes, and how you do it in this program sometimes, but not this time. You're just like, what? Why? What do you mean? Like, why is it not this way all the time? It don't make any sense. And I know it's not just me because I once had an issue with Illustrator and I took it to like three other Photoshop artists and one Illustrator artist, and no one could solve the simplest issue. And we're just like, this doesn't make any sense. Three other people couldn't figure out this basic, basic functionality of the program. And we're just like, I don't understand how this isn't working. This doesn't make any sense. And we're just like dumbfounded. I later figured out the problem, and it was just idiotic. Dresden is like walking around my feet now. But yeah, oils. Once I was able to get oil paint, and it took a long time, but once I was able to get oil paint to do what I wanted, it totally changed everything for me. Cookie Monster says that is very interesting. Oh no, no, that's a previous comment. Yeah. Actually, I just following my passion. That's great. I'm look, I'm happy for you. It's great. Vector art has some really there's a lot of really cool elements to vector art. And depending on what type of art you're doing with vector art, like the the thinking, the thought patterns or the like the way you approach vector art is um very similar to a lot of, to like concept art or painting and so on, like the abstraction element of it. So, there's a lot of cool elements to it for sure. You make photos of people. Hey, they turn people into vector art. That's cool. And of course, vector art has the advantage that you can then print at any size, or there's no there's no limit to the what's it called, um, to the resolution, which is always nice. There was a what's it called? There was an art program. I can't remember what it's called right now. Um, that it used vector art, but they all came out like normal brushes. Like you drew them painted them. What's it called? Um, with like the tablet, kind of like Photoshop brushes, but they were all vector, so you could just zoom in endlessly. So you could make really cool art where you like zoom out and then zoom in a lot, and it had some cool potential, but I don't think they ever truly developed it all the way, unfortunately. But it was a cool concept. I think that unfortunately though they let the program kind of die, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what kind of blocks I have on links and stuff in Twitch. I gotta be better at cleaning off my brush sometimes. Jeez. Coconut Eye says, when I sketch, it looks good, but when I use oil paint, it ruins everything. I mean, uh, you know, it takes time to get used to a new medium. When I started oil painting, I could already like I could paint in other mediums and I could paint digitally, and it was very frustrating because my oil paintings didn't look even close to what I could do, in other mediums. So it took quite a while to kind of get over that hump where, the trying to get the paint to do what you want it to do. But, once you get past that, uh, you know, then it's more about what you want to do with the paint, not like can you control the paint enough. And honestly, I think oil paint is one of the most forgiving paints out there. Uh, I think digital might be, more forgiving in the sense that like you can always undo digital, but oil painting is pretty close up there. If you mess something up, it's pretty easy to go in and fix it if you need to, or repaint it or wipe it off. Like you have a lot of options. But it does take time. Uh, you can't find me on Instagram. I mean, it's at Liad. Oh, there's a G at the end. Liad G. Um, someone, uh, there was someone named Leah, and she added a D for her last name and messed up my thing. But yeah, should be easy to find. I also should have a link in my description. Should still work. My links are down below my live stream. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's at Liad G for Goldberg. But yeah, oil paints, like I said, it takes time. I will say if you're not familiar with them, there's a lot of great videos online and tutorials. However, I will say an art teacher will speed up the like getting past the learning curve of just using the paints faster. However, you can do it on your own. It's just it's a speed thing, right? Like a teacher can definitely cut down on how long it takes to get used to using them. But yeah, like I said, I think they're some of the most forgiving paints. And once you get past the learning curve of like controlling them, then it starts becoming, about like, what do you want to do? What is it you want to do with them? Not can you control them enough to make them do what you want? I mean, I think that still is partially there, but a lot less. LGN art, amazing piece. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Coconut arts, not coconut, cocoa art says I found your Instagram. Okay, awesome. Thank you. And LGN, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. How are you doing today? And what kind of art do you make? By the way, everyone's welcome to join my Discord. If you join my Discord, you can share your art there, as long as it's safe for work stuff. But yeah, you're welcome to join my Discord and share and talk art there as well. LGN says, not bad, not bad. It's been a good day. Good. Glad to hear that. Glad you're having a great day. That says, haha, Leah, do you follow LGN on Instagram? I do. That's funny. I'm so bad with names. I'm sure I'd recognize it, but by name, my brain is completely blank. We both do? That's funny. Well, welcome. I'm sure I'll take a look and be like, oh yeah, of course. But I'm so bad with names that just completely drawing a blank. I'll take a look in a minute. Titanium White was amazing art, to be honest. I saw your art on Instagram. Titanium White. Um, oh my God. Well, thank you. I'm not sure. trying to remember. I don't know if I can't remember. I'm totally blanking. I'm like, what did I name a piece titanium white, or is it just the like super light pieces that you're talking about? Because those I remember, but I don't remember. I honestly I even forget the names of my own paintings sometimes. Second piece of art that okay, fair enough. See, I forget the names of my own art pieces. LGN says I followed people for years on Instagram and I still have no idea how the exact names they use. Yeah, I just recognize the style. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Uh, I'm yeah, with names, and then the other thing too is that I find sometimes extra confusing is like from platform to platform. Sometimes it'll be the same name, but they use a different logo or a different what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? You know, um, a different not logo, picture or whatever, and it just completely messes me up. And I don't realize that they're the same person from one platform to the next. You know. Oh yeah. Hey, there we go. Yeah, I recognize your stuff instantly. You know what, LGN? I I think yeah, that's so funny. Um, oh, Marco. Okay, yeah. I think I thought your thing was IGN, but yeah, no, I recognize your art immediately. Yeah, for sure. That's funny. Yeah, your stuff's great. Well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. All right, let's see here. I can also look at Coco Art's art now because they followed me. Oh, this is cool. Uh, I like the cat with the little arms. That's cute. Not the main focus, but I can't help myself when I see cats. So, it is what it is. Oh, that's cool stuff. This is Vector? Damn. Okay. Oh my God. How Sorry, I'm looking at Coco Art stuff, but I'm just like, man, this is all vector art. Oh, how do you? I would lose my mind. Let's see. Uh, yeah, that's cool. Let me see real quick here. LGN says that I have to specify that it's an L every time uh, to receive. You have to receive an email. Yeah, yeah. I can see that because on Instagram it looks like a uppercase I. It looks like, yeah. And then here, now what piece would I pick? I mean, I love this piece. This is awesome. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I really like this one. I'm gonna just, I know this is a simple one, but I think it's how simple it is that I like love it. This piece too. Sorry, this I'm between the two, showing different pieces from the two of you. But yeah, really beautiful work. Man, Instagram sucks because I'm like clicking on these and the fact that I haven't like hearted them is proof that I haven't seen everything because Instagram doesn't, update you enough or like promote people enough. Anyways, I'm gonna stop now, but that's cool. Yeah, I instantly. So why'd you go with LGN if your name is Marco? I'm curious. I just I ended up going with my actual name. Liad is just my name. You know what I mean? I haven't made a persona or anything, but I'm curious why LGN art. You know, it was your nickname since 1998 on the video games. Okay, makes sense. I like those stories where it's like, oh yeah, this was my username on from like, you know, way back in the day, and it just, they kept using it, and it just ended up being like their whole persona. It was the final boss of Shadowman 64 Legion. That's funny, but it was too cringe, so you changed it to LGN years later. Fair enough. Fair enough. I definitely um there's definitely a lot of people who couldn't use their online handles because they're too cringy, for sure. I was going to say mine was too, but the truth is it wasn't. Not because I wouldn't have been cringy, but because I didn't really play online games, really. Um, all the video games I played were mostly like, uh, single player. Oh, Coco Arts is my mobile battery is dead. You have 2%. See you in the next stream. All right, Coco Arts. See you in the next stream. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. It was nice meeting you too. And hop into the Discord when if you want. Uh, really, it's a nice community. We're not the most active, but if you have questions, it's a great place for that. Yeah, for I most of the video games I played were not online, so I never made any cringe handles, but that's pretty much the only thing that saved me from making cringe handles. I don't even remember my old like Messenger or what was it? Oh, it wasn't Messenger. What was that? There was a messenger program that had like a flower, I think, or something as its logo. I can't even remember what it was called. I don't remember what my handle was on that, but I'm sure it was horrible. Was it IRC? Is that what it was? IRC chat? Is that right? I never got on what's it called? AOL Instant Messenger. Like I know that I never got onto that. I used to be on MIRC a lot. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. IRC was amazing. IRC was Discord 20 years ago. It really was. Yeah. Only they didn't spy on you the way Discord's trying to now. Or has been. Both, I guess. There was just, by the way, there's just a recent data leak that with the company that Discord's like partnering with. So that's lovely. Yeah. Just a reminder to everyone, if you're on Discord, just assume everything you're putting on Discord is going to be in the public. Don't put anything there that you're not comfortable with the public seeing. Just just saying to be safe. A little PSA for using Discord. If you're not comfortable with it being public, don't put it on Discord. But yeah, IRC was great. All right, I am not quite done yet. Oh, obviously, I'm not done with this painting, but I'm not going to get to finish it today, unfortunately. I'm going to have to end stream soonish. Oh, I actually have a full house right now. We have guests over. We had a little bit of a miscommunication as far as like what was happening this weekend. So we actually have a house full of guests right now, and you know, Cookie Monster says I'm playing online chess. What is your online? You don't have to share it, but is your online chess handle very cringy, or is it just like your name or something? I did start playing online games eventually. I used to play Overwatch for a couple of years, and I would have been playing Night Rain if I had anyone to play with. None of my friends really like those games, so oh well. Some games though I don't like. Like I was playing Overwatch and I was playing Marvel Rivals, but the toxicity of those games I find exhausting and kind of ruins it for me. And I know they're not even that toxic compared to like League or something, but I don't know. It gets to me eventually and I'm just like, oh, whatever. I don't need this in my life. LGN says, I honestly cannot play team multiplayer games anymore. Yeah. See, that is something that I was like kind of interested about. What's it called? Night Rain, because it was a cooperative game, right? Like it's a team game, but it's a cooperative game. Yeah, you're not fighting each other. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But like I said, I didn't really have anyone to play with. None of my friends wanted to play it, and because it's so heavily, geared towards cooperative teamwork, I ended up not buying it because I'm like, well, I don't have anyone to play with. What's the point, This has been playing World of Warcraft for so long. Um, SWTR off and on since release. MMOs are my favorite. There, I don't like MMOs. Cookie Monster says, I don't understand, but uh my rating in Bullet is around 1700. In what? In chess? Or is that a different game that you're saying? Maybe I could be misunderstanding. Well, Jan says I'm gonna go to bed. It's been great catching you live. Take care, dude. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Have a great night. And yeah, it was good catching up with you. So thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. And to everybody who stopped by, thank you. I do right now. I stream on Saturdays, only one day a week at the moment. So Saturdays. We'll see if I can add another day or something as time goes on. We'll see. But yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. I appreciate it. Alrighty. I'm also gonna have to call it a night. Like I said, I have a house full of guests, and I probably should go say hello to everybody and be a part of it. Also, my camera has 8 minutes left to record, so I'm out of space too. Basically, it's clearly time for me to take a break and do that. How's my back doing? It's not as bad as last week, but it's I still have to be careful with it. It's been on and off all week. It's better. It is better. Man, the chiropractor just saved me because it's one of those things like when it happens, I'm like, I need to go to the chiropractor bad. I know chiropractors, I have issues with them, but for me, for this particular type of issue, that's exactly what I need. Anyways, but yeah, I think I'm going to call it a day. I got, what is it, 2.5 hours, almost 2 hours and 40 minutes. Not bad, not bad for a Saturday stream. All right, friends. Thank you everyone for stopping by. I appreciate it. It was good catching up with people, and I will be posting photos when I can of the cat painting to show the like shimmer and stuff. But yeah, we'll talk to you all later. I'll see you around on Discord and Instagram and everything next week. Bye, everyone.